I've thought about the Capstone trip many times over my early career at St. Paul's, just thinking that they do such a wonderful job of bringing their faith and learning together, and it'd be just kind of a cool thing to have something at the end of 6th grade that helped them celebrate that. So we were able to put together this trip that involved all of the curricular areas and also putting the learning and faith together in one grand question of what do we want to leave for a legacy? How do we become good citizens and good children of God?
Mrs. Lyons did some investigation into connecting leadership roles. Our students have a very strong values in leadership, and throughout there, where obviously our motto is where faith and learning go hand in hand. They've had all sorts of opportunities, whether it's singing in the school choir, doing their spring musicals, going out and visiting Bartle's friends. Those help build character within our school, and we wanted to continue that expansion of leadership beyond our community of faith at St. Paul's Church and School. How can we continue to keep these students engaged in their learning and also go out into the community, because we are such strong leaders, and we thought we would expand that and continue our faith journey and bring in outsiders as well as individuals from the community.
Our vision for Capstone was that the entire 6th grade year would be a celebration and a kind of a grand finale of all of their learning and faith pulled together. We wanted that to be intergenerational. We wanted it to be infused throughout the curriculum of the school year. That's one of the beautiful things that we think St. Paul's does, is involves the students in the lives of adults and the generation before them. We wanted a travel component to it, but that was really secondary to the learning and the opportunities they had with the older generation to learn about what life could be like for them as they continue to grow and learn.
We kind of had to correlate what our school was all about, the faith and values element, and when we talk about planning, objectives, and curriculum, we also wanted to tie in elements of 21st century skills. And you've got the listening component, you've got the speaking component, the research component, and the collaboration part, and being able to use all of those different elements and put together a trip of this magnitude.
Since I left being principal at St. Paul's, I have been just very excited to watch the Capstone program grow. I think that it has surpassed our vision for it, and in wonderful ways. We had always wanted it to become a tool for sharing with the community, for the students at that grade level, at that age, to be able to go out and share and provide leadership in the community and be able to share their learning in a very public way.
I think a significant memory for me would be we got to talk about each monument and memorial and the significance of that, but we didn't get to just talk about the history of it. We got to look at it from a Christian standpoint too. That is something that has always stuck with me.
A really great experience that happened to me during the trip was going on the floor of the Senate. We got to see the place where they're making the huge decisions about our country.
We felt so much like a family, and so just having that whole atmosphere and being able to take a trip like that was so cool. And so I felt so close to my class, and seeing them even now, it's just we have that shared memory that's just so special.
One of the things I remember about leading up to the trip was the projects that we did. Everyone in the class had a different historical monument that we studied, and so we got to visit a lot of the ones that we studied.
My best memories of that trip are the students coming together with their families, and that was just a really fun thing to watch and to see, and to have their parents be a very important part of their learning on the trip itself.
Just waking up every morning, getting ready to make our agenda, and sitting down and having coffee with one of the kids' parents. Those memories that you just don't get to experience. That's kind of pretty much a once in a lifetime.
I would hope that the students were changed by this first Capstone experience by beginning to look at a little broader vision of the world. And we talked often as they were growing up, preschool through 6th grade, about being children of God. And I would hope that that experience helped them understand that a little bit better and at a little deeper level.
Probably most importantly, when we talk about that experience and how they've changed overall as they begin to mature and develop their own goals in life, hopefully this experience has brought to light some of the things that are out there, the possibilities and the dreams here. People can make a difference in the world. We all have a story to tell.
I think one lesson that I learned with the Capstone project was that anyone can do anything.
I'd say just like keeping an open mind to like all that there is around you and like all these different people and like how much went into like where we're at today.
A significant memory that I have from the Capstone experience is I really got to know my classmates. Like, we had a small class of 16, but throughout that experience, like going on that trip, we all got to know each other on like a different level.
Because of this experience, I learned to not exactly not take no for an answer, but fight for what you believe in.
An opportunity like the Capstone experience provides these young adults, they are just on the edge of moving developmentally from being so self-centered and concerned about themselves to being more understanding and developmentally able to understand a broader picture, a broader world. Not what is this about me, but what does this mean for me? And how do I want to live my life? What kind of person do I want to be? What kind of child of God do I want to be?
And I think it's basically the authenticity of it all. When they're out there experiencing it firsthand, and again with the projects that these kids do, how that embeds that type of desire to want to do better, do bigger and better things here.
It is such a unique experience. Like, you get to learn a lot about the history and like a lot about Washington, D.C., like in the classroom and in D.C. And then you also get to look at it from that Christian standpoint, which is unique to St. Paul's, and you wouldn't get it anywhere else.
I would highly encourage future sixth graders to go on this trip because it's not only just like an educational experience, you also grow as a person and grow with your classmates, and I think that's one of the best opportunities that St. Paul's gave me.
So I would encourage the future classes of St. Paul's to go on this trip because it opens your mind so much.
I hope that people understand that the Capstone Project was not just about travel to Washington, D.C. We wanted this to be a culmination of their experiences at St. Paul's, where we believed learning and faith go hand in hand. And so for this to be their opportunity at the end of 6 or 7 years, or fewer if they came mid-year or during their experience at St. Paul's, that they would have an opportunity to come together as a group, to learn about their nation, to learn about their history and the history of the people around them, and then to be able to pull that all together and experience some of that themselves by going to Washington, D.C. It's really about their learning throughout their entire career at St. Paul's, and especially as the sixth graders in that year, and then celebrating that with their travel and their time together.